The music scene in New York City's Lower East Side is alive and thriving. Rooted in the punk and new wave eras from the 1970s and 80s, with bands like The Ramones, Talking Heads, and Blondie, and reinforced by the Y2K rock revival led by The Strokes, Yeah Yeah Yeahs, and LCD Sound System, neighborhood music venues are actively showcasing local talent. In early 2020, however, the scene's momentum came to a grinding halt. New York City, along with the rest of the world, was devastated, and the unthinkable happened.
Crank the music up.
The music stopped, and the coronavirus pandemic took hold, only to be further complicated by political chaos, the murder of George Floyd, and protests and looting that would ravage cities across America.
Bring that shit in!
The music industry is booming. All these festivals were happening. All these bands were on tour. COVID hits. And it hits quickly.
Now check this out.
Some of my buddies in NYPD that I kind of garnered relationships with through working at Webster Hall, they kind of gave me a hint. They gave me a heads up, and they were like, "Hey, buddy, they're talking about closing bridges and tunnels."
The culture lost. Spun our minds here through time. Ignorance is taken.
I went to the Parkside Lounge to see Alan Merrill play, which is right here in the neighborhood.
That was the weekend where everything started going crazy.
It was a super spreader. People got sick. Alan died. Other people died. Other people got sick.
I found out later that over at the Parkside, every single person who played that night or worked that night got hit with COVID.
All this stuff starts happening with the pandemic. And I was actually performing at a Lou Reed birthday tribute concert at the Bowery Electric that night. And the place was slam-packed. And I remember a friend texting me, "There are cases of COVID in New York City right now, be careful." But 3 days later, I was very, very ill for like the next 3 or 4 days, like where I couldn't get out of bed.
I was imagining the end of days, you know, man. I was doing push-ups, crunches every morning. I'm like, who's your real friend?
Like many musicians, it just completely derailed our lives, completely devastated.
As the weather warmed and the virus subsided, little by little, businesses began to reopen. Bars served drinks out the window, and one Lower East Side bartender had an idea.
We were connecting and talking all the time, and of course everything was shut down, so everybody's just hanging tight at their house. And Mezzo said, "Hey man, you know, I'm being asked to basically to run Marshall Stack, and I asked the owner if I could have some music, and he said, sure, but you have to work it out carefully."
Because I'm going to go see John Mato at Marshall Stack, and I saw Carl Schwartz outside.
He said, "Hey man, do you want to come and just play music for us?" And I said, "Oh yeah, of course." And
me and Carl sat down. Carl had his old resonator out, and then we started handing the guitar back and forth, and people started to show up. And I remember that was the first day. Mato was like, "Well, maybe we should make a little something happen."
And very quickly it started to be, oh, well, you know, let's invite another musician and invite another musician.
Mato was like, I'm doing this thing at Marshall Stacks, do you want to play? I thought he was kidding at first. I'm like, that's a joke.
No, I think I just sat in a chair on the street and people were coming by and just grew from there.
So we were like, fuck it, let's get some bands going.
And I said to Johnny, I was like, "Are all these windows open?" It's like, "Yeah." And I said, "Okay, we're gonna put the bass player over here. We're gonna put the drummer here. I'll be in the middle. Put the sax player here, and we'll get people out. Put out a tip jar and do this thing."
Yeah, we'll just set up in the window. It's kind of like the red light district of music over here.
Mato had created the one and only music scene in Manhattan, and it surely was. It was the first performance space that had reopened since COVID.
If we can't do music, then it's not really worth having in New York City anyway.
So of all the places that were trying to do something, but Marshall Stack, they came up with this formula: open the window, have the musician play there, turn the speakers out, have people sit outside.
And people need music, Of course, music brings people together. Music is like therapeutic for a lot of people.
People's emotions, they're just heartfelt emotions coming up to me and saying like, "Oh my God, I have forgotten how much live music means to me."
They needed it. We needed it. It was our drug of choice. It was our orgy. It was our head session. It was all of that.
The most thrilling thing during the pandemic, to be able to go out and just listen to music and rally with other music lovers and not be so scared.
As dark as the times were, it's probably some of my favorite memories playing in New York City. I mean, because it was just such an incredible, the energy and the sense that everyone finally got to be together again and try and bring some sense of like normalcy back to our lives.
The community responded with grace, showering of love and appreciation, really, because we all needed a place. Everybody needed a place.
I think it was like the beginning of music being able to be live again and to be with people and to get our lives back.
So that's what it was. Like it's music ties in the community and brings people together, and it gives it an identity. It gives us that sense of identity that really was lost. And it's also what makes New York City such a unique place, is that we have the culture. That's why people come here, because they want to be part of this vast network of great artists and ideas that just all collides here, with such rapid energy. So.